Okay, so here are my first impressions and initial review of the all-new Samsung Galaxy Tab S Plus. Let's talk about whether this is even worth upgrading to. Let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, some of you out there really need to stop it. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Plus is definitely different than the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to buy the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Plus here, but today I definitely will be highlighting some key differences between this and the Tab S8 Plus. Now, let's go ahead and start off with the basics, right? So it costs more than the Tab S8 Plus, when it launched, right? So this is $100 more. This will run you $999 for the base, 256 gigs of internal storage. Now, if you think about it, the Tab S8 Plus, when that dropped, that was $899, and if you were to go up to 256 like this base, it would have cost you a little bit over $1,000. So, even though the price went up, it's still kind of the same, except they're forcing you to start off with 256 gigs. So this tablet here has definitely seen some changes. If you were to hold the tablet facing this way, right, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between this and the Tab S8 Plus, which makes sense, right? It's just a display, and that's that same display you find on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus with the same resolution, 1752 by 2800 in terms of the resolution. So in terms of PPI, because this is the same size, by the way, 12.4 inches display. This is a pretty wide display here. So 12.4 inches, same size as that was. That also means that the PPI remains the same. The aspect ratio is also the same. So the major difference when it comes down to hardware, obviously there's some differences on the inside also, but as soon as you look at it, you'll be able to tell that this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Plus. You will see that on the back here, on the Tab S8, we had a glossy stripe here for the S Pen, but here we have a matte finish for that glossy strip. And not only that, it's interrupted, right before we get to the camera. And speaking of the camera, you see that here you have two single lenses camera, as opposed to a camera module that had both cameras on the back there on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus. And not only that, the camera's diameter is definitely larger than what you had on the previous tablet, meaning that the back cover that you have for your Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus will not fit this one, or it actually will fit, except the cover, the flap, won't cover the cameras here because they are wider. Now on the front, of course, if you have the actual keyboard, you could definitely go ahead and snap that. It has the same pogo pins that we have here, the 3 pogo pins. That is the same one that we have on the S8 Plus. So you could definitely snap that in, and you'll be able to use that, type up documents or navigating the internet, all of that good stuff you should be able to do with your keyboard. Also, on that same strip here, Samsung seems to have added some additional magnets to this because it feels sturdier than what you have on the S8 Plus. And not only that, you could put it in different position, it'll still stay pretty strong. It's definitely firmer, and of course you can still attach it to the side like you used to do with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus, and you'll still be fine there. Now going around the tablet here, we have the same physical features that we have on Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus, right? So your power button, volume rocker, mics there, USB Type-C port 3.2, quad speaker setup. These speakers are actually pretty good. I will tell you a lot more about it when I compare this to the Tab S8 Plus. And like I said, on this side here, you have the pogo pins to go ahead and attach the keyboard. On the front here, going back to the front, what you have here is a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. And of course, that also does support auto framing, meaning that if you're moving while you're in the call or more people are joining the call, the camera would, automatically track to make sure that everyone stays, in frame. Now on the back here with the 2 individual lenses that you have for camera here, we have a 13 megapixel wide and an 8 megapixel ultra wide. And I believe you can get to shoot 4K at 30 and also 60 frames per second. Camera quality, definitely good so far. I haven't taken any pictures outside just yet with it, but then again, a lot of people don't necessarily buy tablets to, take pictures. Generally, the camera that you have on your phone will be better than what you have on a tablet. But I can tell you that when it comes down to camera for tablets or, tablet cameras, I think this is probably one of the best, at least that I've used so far. But anyway, as I mentioned, the inside has seen, quite a few changes. Actually, the most drastic one would be, the platform. This is running the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and I can tell you that you could definitely tell the difference between this and the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8. I edited one video just to test out the tablet. In terms of rendering speed, this is definitely ahead of that. So it's a very powerful chipset. It is actually coupled with 12 gigs of RAM. Mine is a 512 gigs of internal storage, also with 12 gigs of RAM. But if you were to go for the base model, which is 256 gigs of internal storage, that also will afford you 12 gigs of RAM, which is plenty. This is something that is super powerful to use. User experience so far, at least first impressions, the past couple of days that I've been using this, has been really, really nice. Now, I'm not going to say that it's drastically different than the Tab S8 Plus. Like I mentioned, unless you're holding the tablet this way, when you hold it and you are looking at the, just the front of the tablet, you won't be able to tell whether this is the S8 Plus or the S9 Plus, right? Simply because the displays remains the same and the way you interact with your tablet is going to be the same. So that user experience doesn't change much, except say you're doing productivity work that involves a lot of heavy stuff. This will power through all of that stuff much faster than the Tab S8 Plus. And that's when you'll be able to notice maybe your user experience is kind of different. You notice that you're flying through your work a lot faster than you would on the Tab S8 Plus. But other than that, it's essentially the same user experience. And this is also my way of saying that before I even drop the full review for the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Plus that I have here, if you own a Tab S8 Plus, unless you want to buy the Tab S9 Plus, maybe to take advantage of the water resistance or the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and all that good stuff, you don't need to upgrade, right? This is a nice upgrade if you're coming from let's say maybe 2 generations or more, right? Maybe let's say you have a Tab S7 Plus and you want to go ahead and upgrade to Tab S9. That's actually a pretty nice leap, and anything prior to the Tab S8, of course, that would be nice to jump onto this one. Now, I've only glossed over the IP rating so far, but in case you were not aware, this is rated IP68, right? So dust and water resistant to a certain extent, which is pretty nice, and it's a novelty, especially for tablets or for devices in this specific category, right? So we've seen devices that are water resistant. Samsung actually makes devices specifically for rough terrains that are water resistant, but this is the first time we've seen something like this on a flagship. But anyways, battery size here is the same as what you have on the Tab S8 Plus, 10,090 milliamp. But the thing is that because this is loaded with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is super efficient, when it comes down to battery. On top of the fact that you have a new cooling system in here, you're looking at longer battery life. Now, it's currently still learning, my usage, so I can't really tell you how good battery is. Plus, it's pretty subjective depending on how you use your tablet, but I can tell you that so far I have zero complaint. I was already happy with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus battery, or battery life, I should say, but here it seems to be better than what I remember from the S8 Plus when I bought it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. By the time I go ahead and drop that full review of this tablet here, I would have used the tablet long enough to be able to tell you in a more concrete way how good the battery life is. So, definitely look forward to that. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss out on that full review. We have the S Pen, of course. This is the special edition, creator or editor edition, whatever it is, but I can tell you that so far using it, it just seemed like the typical S Pen to me. I'm pretty sure it has more things that you can do with it, but so far for my type of usage, I haven't really, tapped into the whole creator thing that it supports. But, if you're a creator, this would be a nice one to pick up. Now, you're able to do all your typical stuff. Plus, of course, it is an active stylus, meaning it charges off the back. And as I mentioned, you can charge it in either position here. And then once it's charged up, you get access to all of the remote functions and, all of that fun stuff. You do have access to Samsung Dex. You still be able to use it here and be able to toggle back and forth and handle multiple windows without any issues. And if you happen to attach a keyboard and a mouse to this, then you pretty much have a computer there, right? You just enable Samsung Dex and you'll be able to work on it as if you were working on the laptop. Now, I've done some level of gaming on here also. Top notch, no stuttering. You could game at the highest, turn the settings to the highest that you can, and you'll be able to enjoy gaming here. Now, another thing that I need to highlight here before we close this video is that because this is a newer tablet, obviously it's going to be supported, longer than the previous one. So that's another thing to consider if you were thinking about upgrading. I didn't want to make an unboxing video simply because there's not a lot to unbox out of this, right? It's simply the tablet. I mean, we could go ahead and quickly fly over it here. You see that the box is still that pretty thin box there. Don't expect a wall adapter out of the box. Obviously, you just get the tablet like you see at the top here, and then you get the S Pen, you get the manual, and then you get the charging cable, and you also get the pin ejector, and that's pretty much it. That's as far as the unboxing goes, so it definitely was not worthy of a video. But anyways, as far as first impressions go, I'm gonna say that they're positive. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. It's good to see that the design has changed, to have these single lenses on the back there, kind of match what we have on the Galaxy S23 series, the Samsung phones, right? So it's kind of like you see that uniformity, throughout the entire catalog of products that Samsung is pushing out there. So it's good to see that. And it's more of a just natural progression of things with this. As we also know that the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 FE is coming up. You can see that they skipped, the S8 FE going directly into the S9. So they're keeping the uniformity just across everything, right? So trying to keep the names the same, try to also give the looks to just be about the same with all of the other devices. So it's good to see that. And even more impressive is what's on the inside, right? It's very good to see, you know, how much more powerful the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is compared to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 that is found on the Galaxy Tab S8 Plus. But anyway, I will give you a lot more details. I'm going to make a more comprehensive take on the Galaxy Tab S9 Plus here. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so that when it drops, you are there for it. Also, make sure to share the video, like the video, and share if you know anyone who will be interested or who's currently in the market for this. Make sure to subscribe. Like I mentioned, I will catch you in the comment section. Did you happen to pick up any of the S9 series, right? The S9, the S9 Ultra, or this one? Let me know in the comment section. I would love to chat about that in the comment section. So I'm going to catch you in the comment section. I'm also going to catch you in the next video. Up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.